because she wanted to be the president of the country. Every time she went out, she would take off her expensive jewelry and put on ordinary shoes, and only when her assistant deliberately stepped on them was she satisfied that she could look like a hardworking and honest person. As a presidential candidate, Jenny had honed her ability to talk to people of any age in order to get votes for herself, but her ability to disguise herself goes far beyond that. When she meets a nun, she pretends to be a believer in Jesus. Even when she meets a monk, she can easily change to a believer in Buddha. What's even more outrageous is that in an interview, when a competitor accuses her of tax evasion, she can still face it without a ripple in her heart. But when she talked about her grandmother, she couldn't help but cover her face and cried bitterly. She grew up in a poor family and lived with her grandmother, but she suddenly passed away a few days ago, and becoming president was the only wish of her grandmother. After her performance, she got more votes than she expected. However, after the interview, she went to the hotel to meet her competitors who had just appeared on stage, but they had already conspired and they were playing along with her. Of course, she offered her a very high price, and they all celebrated happily. But when she got home in the evening, she and her husband secretly changed into night clothes and left the small house after a few tries to get out of the back door of the neighborhood. And then when no one was around, they hurriedly got into the assistant's car, and then they arrived at a luxurious villa. Jenny changed her poor appearance and exuded the air of a rich wife, and even had a foreign maid to prepare food for them. But just as they were about to end the day, a phone call made them panic and they arrived at an old house on a hilltop in the midst of lightning and thunder. The old man just waved his hand and Jenny rushed up to him, but she was slapped in the face. It turned out that the old man was her grandmother, and the reason she called the two of them so late was because the landlord had asked her to give up the rent for a ski resort that was about to be built. But now that Jenny is up for election and the fact that her grandmother is still alive will be revealed, all her efforts will be in vain. So Jenny decides to keep hiding her grandmother. The grandmother was furious, but for the sake of her granddaughter's future, she agreed. But as soon as she left, she lit a candle and prayed in front of a statue of Buddha, hoping that her granddaughter would never lie again. On the other side of the room, Jenny was almost struck by lightning. She was so scared that she ran away, but she didn't know that what happened next could have cost her everything.